The question is that this House do now adjourn. Adam Jogi.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm very grateful to lead this House in acknowledging and marking Commonwealth Day 2026 and declare an interest as both co-chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on the Commonwealth and as a member of the executive of the UK branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and in many ways, Madam Deputy Speaker, child of the Commonwealth. As you know, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Commonwealth was formed way back in 1949, of course not that you were present for clarity, with His late Majesty King George V as its first head, and we, of course, think about Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It is a voluntary association of 56 independent and equal countries across the globe. It is home to 2.7 billion people and includes both advanced economies and developing countries. 33 of its members are small states, including many island nations in all corners of the world, from Jamaica, the land of my grandfather's birth, that wonderful green island of the West Indies, to Tonga, to Tuvalu and Malta. Its member states have agreed to shared goals on development, democracy and peace, and its values and principles are expressed in the Commonwealth Charter. Whilst I am firmly of the view, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the Commonwealth must be recognised every day by all of us, I am pleased that on the second Monday in March every year since 1977, people from across the Commonwealth, representing nearly a third of the world's population, come together in a shared moment of reflection and celebration. So it was again this year, Madam Deputy Speaker, as the world marked Commonwealth Day on Monday this week, with people taking part in cultural events, school activities and faith-based services across all 56 member countries. On Monday, thanks to Mr Speaker, the Commonwealth flag was raised here in this mother of parliaments. Sadly, I hadn't quite reached this place from Newcastle-on-Lyme, the centre of our collective universe, Madam Deputy Speaker, to attend the ceremony, but I do pay tribute to Mr Speaker for the seriousness with which he takes furthering links between Commonwealth parliaments, peoples and traditions. And although I couldn't attend the flag raising, I was privileged to mark Commonwealth Day in the presence of their Majesties at a service of Thanksgiving at Westminster Abbey, attending on behalf of my constituents back home in Newcastle-on-Lyme. It's allowed me and the many, many hundreds of people present the opportunity to reflect, to remember and to celebrate all that makes the Commonwealth a family of nations in all corners of the globe, what it is, what it has been and what it can be. And I'll give way to the member for Strangford.
Madam Deputy Speaker, first of all, can I commend the honourable gentleman for Newcastle-under-Lyme for doing this, and it's so important that we remember this Commonwealth Day, and he's right to do so. But Commonwealth Day is more than what the honourable gentleman is saying as well. We celebrate a network of 56 nations shared with shared values. For Northern Ireland, the Commonwealth offers real economic opportunities, from expanding trade in agriculture and technology, manufacturing, to attracting investment and fostering innovation. Does the honourable member agree that by embracing these partnerships, Northern Ireland and around the United Kingdom can grow our economy, empower our youth and build a stronger future within the Commonwealth?
Jogi.
To the honourable member for his intervention, and if he waited a little minute longer, he'd hear all the very important points that I'm about to refer to, some that he's just done. But yes, I do agree with him. He knows I had the wisdom to marry a woman from County Antrim, so the importance of Northern Ireland in our United Kingdom, a good choice, very good choice. I'm glad she chose me, but actually I'm sure she regrets it sometimes in this life. But the importance of Northern Ireland both to our United Kingdom and to the Commonwealth is absolute, and he and I are at one on that. Madam Deputy Speaker, the honourable gentleman's intervention demonstrates why I'm delighted to have secured this debate, because it provides colleagues across the House an important opportunity not only to reflect on the legacy of the Commonwealth and our own individual stories and connections, but to look to the opportunities before us. Every one of us in this place is a Commonwealth citizen, and it's about time that we all started acting like it. Our world is ever more fractious. There is geopolitical instability almost everywhere you look. And following our departure from the European Union, it's vital for jobs and livelihoods in Newcastle-on-Lyme, in Staffordshire, in Northern Ireland and right across our United Kingdom that we nurture and further our connections with the wider world. And we're better placed, in one moment, we're better placed to start, Madam Deputy Speaker, than the Commonwealth through the honourable member for Mid and South Pembrokeshire.
Henry Tufnell.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way in for his excellent speech. Can I ask him, in light of our departure from the European Union and the intractable nature of those discussions and us being unable to get a deal that is better than any other member state, that we look, in order to benefit both his constituents and mine, at taking a Commonwealth first approach?
My honourable and very good friend, the member for Mid and South Pembrokeshire, makes an excellent point. A Commonwealth first approach is one that I hope His Majesty's government will advance in the coming years, and he couldn't put it better than that. I'll give way to the honourable lady.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I thank the honourable gentleman for giving way. We're celebrating Commonwealth Week, and I just wonder whether the honourable gentleman would agree with me that it's absolutely shocking to discover that the government made a decision to implement freezing UK state pensions for 430,000 British citizens overseas, of whom 90% are in Commonwealth countries. And it's particularly cynical that it introduced that legislation enforcing the freeze last Friday using a mechanism which does not provide for parliamentary debate or votes on a policy affecting so many people who live overseas.
Madam Jogee.
Who doesn't love an intervention from the Liberal Democrats, Madam Deputy Speaker? The honourable lady will not be surprised to know, in my capacity as co-chair of the all-party parliamentary group with the member for Romford, that these issues have been brought to us before. We've raised them with ministers, and I feel sure that my colleagues on the front bench will pick those up in the coming weeks. But it's a message that many of us have heard loud and clear, and I hope to see some progress on. The Commonwealth's roots go back to the British Empire, but today any country can join in the modern Commonwealth, and that speaks to its potential. I will happily give way to the Member of Parliament for my in-laws back in Northern Ireland.
Robin Swan.
Thank you very much, and I thank the member for giving way. Just on that point, he'll be aware a good friend of ours, Frank Featon, the TD of Sligo and Leitrim, is actually in Westminster today. Frank has often championed the fact that the Republic of Ireland should return to the Commonwealth and actually expand that greater familiar connectivity that we have across the old empire. Would he agree that Frank should be encouraged to forward that argument?
Yeah. Madam Jogee.
I'm grateful to all my friends for coming out tonight, Madam Deputy Speaker, with their helpful, pithy interventions that will, if I wax lyrical too much, get into trouble. But the honourable member for Southampton raised an important point, and more generally acknowledges the important role that Britain and Ireland together have advanced the cause of freedom, of peace, and we've seen much progress between our island and the island of Ireland in recent years, and I feel sure that the honourable member with Minister Feehan will continue to advance the relationships between the Republic of Ireland and the United Kingdom, and he will have in me a strong champion as he continues to do so. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Commonwealth, the modern Commonwealth that all countries can join, speak to its potential for good, for change and for progress. And we should not shy away from our history. Yes, it's complex, and yes, at times it's painful, but it's important that we reflect honestly on it. The Commonwealth emerged from that history as a voluntary association of nations committed not to hierarchy, but to partnership, to cooperation and to equality. And throughout our history that we reflect on every Commonwealth Day, Commonwealth nations have proudly stood together in defence of our shared values. And I will happily give way to the honourable gentleman.
He's making an excellent speech, and I congratulate him for bringing it to the Chamber today. Talking of our joint bonds, I represent Bromley and Biggin Hill, and RAF Biggin Hill played a crucial part in the Second World War, and that was stocked full of pilots from the Commonwealth. So it's not just the future in terms of political or economic bonds, it is the bonds of desperation and fighting for freedom that bonds us together as well.
The gentleman raised a really good point, and I feel like CHQ has seen my speech, Madam Deputy Speaker, because I'm just about to say, in World War II, soldiers from across the Commonwealth made immense sacrifices in the fight against fascism on the battlefields of Europe. Indians, Africans, those from the Caribbean and the Pacific. Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Jews and Christians from all over the Commonwealth. Jamaica, Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, Australia, India, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, Malta, to name just a few. And I see the member for Exeter is poised, ready to jump up and intervene.
Race.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and thank you to my honourable friend for securing this debate and for the excellent speech that he's giving. I recently joined Tim and Lizzie in Exeter for a walk around our main Commonwealth War Graves site in Exeter, in Higher Cemetery, which sits at the sort of centre of some of the shared endeavours that we took together across the Commonwealth in both of the World Wars, and that really keeps the memory of those people alive and the memory of our shared history alive. Would the honourable member join me in commending the work of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission for all the work they do across the world, both in terms of tending those graves of those people that died in service of our countries, but also keeping the memory of those people alive as well?
My honourable friend Fexter raises a really important point. In the gallery there's Father Tommy Merry, who used to be vicar at St Margaret's, Wolstanton and Newcastle Lyme, Madam British Speaker, where there are a number of Commonwealth graves, and I was there recently, saw the amazing volunteers who live in my constituency, the centre of our collective universe, as I've said, who week in, week out volunteer with their time, their compassion, their commitment, not just to honouring our history, but to make sure that we live it and remember it and keep it in mind as we go forward. So from Newcastle Lyme, Madam Speaker, to Devon, the people take the Commonwealth War Grave Commission seriously, and I pay tribute to them for all the work that they do. Last week, the member for Ilford led a debate that focused on the more than 3 million soldiers and labourers from the Commonwealth who served nobly, diligently and bravely alongside the British Army in World War I. That shared experience remains an enduring example of our collective commitment to freedom and shows why the Commonwealth was formed back in 1949 and why it's so important that we mark Commonwealth Day 2026. I will give way to the Honourable Member for Romford, who I don't think was there in 1949, but...
Rossendale.
So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I commend my honourable friend for his initiative in having this debate today and thank him for his work as co-chairman of the all-party parliamentary group for the Commonwealth. But does he agree with me that the Commonwealth's wider members are, of course, our overseas territories, the Crown dependencies, the external territories of Australia, the realm states of New Zealand? They are also very much part of the Commonwealth family and should be included in some way in the work of the Commonwealth.
Jogi.
I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman. He calls me his honourable friend. I'm not sure what that does for his street cred or mine, but I'm grateful to him for the compliment. Probably cause you more trouble these days, comrade. But but in all seriousness, he raises an important point. There are people up and down the United Kingdom, in our overseas territories, all of whom played an important part in the battles I referred to, in the efforts to bring our people together, and making sure that they all have a seat at the table is important for all of us, and I agree with him, which I say will probably... I'd be delighted to give way to the member for Beverley.
I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman who's been typically gracious and generous. Last year I met with Darren England, who goes out quietly and cleans and maintains and looks after lovingly the Commonwealth War Graves in Withensea. And would he join with me in congratulating all those who go quietly about that business, looking after the graves and showing due respect to those who've lost their lives in protecting this country and the values that the whole Commonwealth shares?
I'm very grateful to the honourable gentleman. I would do. I'm glad he's found his voice. He was losing it earlier on today, and I'm grateful to him for his intervention. From Devon to Newcastle Lyme and up to North Yorkshire, he's right, and we want to make sure we hold on to not just that community spirit, but an understanding of what went before us and how we also ensure we don't fall back into the battles that we were able to win in previous years. In the latter half of the 20th century, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Commonwealth played such an important role in advancing the global cause of human dignity. The Singapore Declaration of 1971 set out the recognition of racial prejudice and discrimination as an evil of society. This was followed by the Harare Declarations of 1991, signed in the land of my father's birth, which committed the Commonwealth to strengthen its ability to promote and protect democracy in member states. The Commonwealth offers so much more, as the honourable gentleman for Strangford alluded to when he prematurely intervened on my speech, in the arts, culture, sport, education, health and the rest. And whilst I speak of the historical significance of the Commonwealth, we must also recognise it is a living network with immense potential. how could I refuse my honourable friend from Staffordshire?
Dave Robertson.
I thank my honourable friend and county colleague for giving way. I'm listening with intent because we're hearing a lot of the wonderful things about the Commonwealth, and much of what we've spoken about has been about the past and our shared sacrifice and the real history that we should celebrate. But as we move and he moves in his speech to looking forwards, I wonder if you can join me in offering the best of luck to all those competitors who will be competing in the Commonwealth Games this summer in Glasgow.
My honourable friend from Staffordshire, from Lichfield, raises an excellent point. I'm looking forward to him competing one day in the Commonwealth Games when they are held in Lichfield. But in all,
maybe tug of war.
Oh, but in all seriousness, I'd bet on you, brother. But in all seriousness, he raised an important point, and the Commonwealth Games is just one example of how the Commonwealth brings people together, Madam Deputy Speaker. And he and I will be cheering on Team GB together as they do well. Now, in the theme, Madam Speaker, my friend from Staffordshire threw me there with his excitement at taking part in tug of war in the Commonwealth Games one day. The theme of this year's Commonwealth Day is unlocking opportunities together for a prosperous Commonwealth, reminding us of the opportunities that stand before us. Now, in my view, Madam Speaker, it's a matter of regret that the Commonwealth as it stands is underutilised. It's underfunded, it doesn't get the recognition it deserves by Member States and its leaders. It needs meaningful support and a greater sense of direction to make it the useful network for the contemporary world we all live in. This is particularly important given the fraying relations we see across the globe. With the aggression of hostile states like Russia and China, we face a period of acute geopolitical uncertainty. The Commonwealth has a unique opportunity to bring together nations that share a commitment to mutual respect and the rule of law. The Commonwealth makes a unique contribution to international relations, an association built on dialogue where large and small states are given an equal voice at the table. It also offers the opportunity to make progressive change. The Commonwealth already supports programmes focused on advancing women's rights, expanding access to quality education and tackling the climate crisis. And we use, Madam Deputy Speaker, Commonwealth Day 2026 to recognise and celebrate that. Because the Commonwealth must not be a symbolic institution, but it must be a practical network that promotes progressive ideas across the world. Reducing the barriers to trade, as my honourable friend from Mid and South Pembrokeshire noted, between Member States could deliver significant benefits for my constituents, Madam Speaker, and yours too.
On that point, will you give way?
Talking of Southampton, I will happily give way to my honourable friend.
Darren Pappy.
I thank my honourable friend and congratulate him on securing this debate. He will know, of course, that in the history of the Commonwealth, many have gone to it and come from it through the port city of Southampton. And as he speaks of the future value of the Commonwealth, will you agree with me that that local benefit in terms of culture and education and the sharing of ideas that he mentions, that port cities like Southampton and others have a key part in that as we move forward?
My honourable friend for that intervention, he's right as he talks about ports and the importance that ports played, Madam Speaker, to the Commonwealth. I think of my grandfather who docked at Liverpool in 1941, February 1941, Madam Speaker, to help the war effort and to fight the fascists. And so my honourable friend makes a really important point. There are many of us in our cities, in our families, in our communities who feel the points that he's just made and feel them strongly. Strengthening those economic relationships could help grow our economy here at home while supporting development and prosperity across the Commonwealth. Now, of course, Madam Speaker, partnership must also include honest conversations about difficult issues. In some Commonwealth countries, serious concerns remain about the protection of human rights, including the persecution of religious and ethnic minorities. The Commonwealth should be a forum where such challenges can be addressed openly. Through respectful engagement, Member States can act as critical friends to one another, encouraging progress whilst maintaining dialogue. The world has changed dramatically since the Commonwealth's founding almost 80 years ago. The advances in technology, the urgency of the climate crisis and shifts in geopolitics have presented challenges that no country can tackle alone. And so it's important that we now renew and innovate our forms of international cooperation. The Commonwealth offers exactly that opportunity, a network that connects nations across continents, languages, cultures and faiths. It demonstrates that diversity does not weaken us, Madam Speaker, but it strengthens us when we are united by shared values and common purpose. Commonwealth Day, therefore, offers us an important moment, not only to celebrate these bonds, but to consider how cooperation can be improved in the decades ahead. It must be a living, breathing partnership that amplifies the voices of its member states and strengthens connections between their peoples and their economies. I urge ministers in the Foreign Office to hear my calls to ensure that we redouble our efforts to make the Commonwealth fit for purpose, that the United Kingdom steps up to be counted in terms of our financial support for the Commonwealth Secretariat, and that leaders across the Commonwealth recognise that we want action, not words. Our leaders must empower our people in Newcastle and Lyme, Madam Speaker, in Newcastle, New South Wales, in Newcastle, KwaZulu-Natal, and yes, in, if I may, Madam Speaker, North Southampton and Romsey. There is talent, there is ambition and creativity all over the Commonwealth, but it's time we started to harness it. My honourable friend and his colleagues in the Foreign Office have the potential to change that, and I look forward to playing my part, working with them and colleagues across the House and the Commonwealth in delivering the final sentence of the Commonwealth Charter. We aspire, and I quote, to be a Commonwealth that is a strong and respected voice in the world, speaking out on major issues, that strengthens and enlarges its networks, that has a global relevance and profile, and that is devoted to improving the lives of all people of the Commonwealth. Happy Commonwealth Day 2026, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Yeah. Minister Faulkner.
I'm grateful, Madam Deputy Speaker, to my honourable friend, the member for Newcastle under Lyme, for securing this debate. I think all in this House recognise his tireless work in support of the Commonwealth as co-chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group and as a member of the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Also welcome the commitment to the Commonwealth demonstrated in the Chamber this evening and the very good spirit which obviously suffuses the Chamber when talking about the Commonwealth. It makes for me a nice change from many of the more controversial questions on which I am often engaged. And I hope that there are some watching us in the Commonwealth, and I hope they can see the true spirit of friendship and goodwill that emanates from this place to all corners of the globe. I'll try to address the points that have been raised by honourable members. I feel personally very connected to the Commonwealth. I joined as a young man the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, now the FCDO. The first posting that I served properly in was in Pakistan, obviously a very important member of the Commonwealth. Pakistan and many other parts of the Commonwealth face challenging times as we speak, and I know that the Commonwealth is a much-needed source of strength and stability. As His Majesty the King reflected this week, it is often in such testing moments that the enduring spirit of this family of nations is most clearly revealed. The Commonwealth spans every continent and ocean. It represents about a third of the world's population. Now, as my honourable friend so articulately said, in its 77th year, it continues to show its relevance as a family of nations bound by shared values, cooperation and genuinely deep appreciation. The Commonwealth Charter, which my honourable friend has quoted from already, expresses the commitment of member states to the development of free and democratic societies and the promotion of peace and prosperity. So in Commonwealth Week, this is an opportune moment to reflect on our shared values of freedom, peace and democracy. We were very pleased on Sunday to join the 26th Commonwealth Foreign Affairs meeting here in London. My right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, joined counterpart to discuss the most pressing challenges facing our societies and the international system. On Monday, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary and the Minister for the Commonwealth joined His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen and Commonwealth representatives at Westminster Abbey to mark Commonwealth Day and reflect on the deep strength of this partnership. We are looking forward to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow this summer, which should bring us together in a spirit of friendly competition. And later this year, leaders will meet in St John's, Antigua and Barbuda for their Heads of Government meeting, which is an important opportunity for the Commonwealth to show leadership in our changing world. As my honourable friend has rightly pointed out, this is a time of profound international challenge. From rising security threats, economic volatility, climate pressures and democratic backsliding, these times demand contemporary partnerships that work. The Commonwealth, with its reach and diversity, is well placed to respond. Under the leadership of Secretary-General Shirley Botchwey, we are seeing important steps being taken. The new strategic plan of September 2025 is focused on economic, environmental and democratic resilience. It reflects the realities of our age and the priorities of the Member States. The UK supports that direction. We continue to stand fully behind the Commonwealth. We remain the largest financial contributor to its institutions, including its Secretariat, its Foundation and the Commonwealth of Learning. Through its networks, including the vital accredited organisations, the Commonwealth helps teachers, universities, parliamentarians and businesses to work directly with their counterparts across Member States. That cooperation turns the shared values, which my honourable friends spoke so meaningfully about, into practical results, whether that's teachers sharing curricula, parliamentarians strengthening scrutiny, or businesses navigating new markets. It's one of the Commonwealth's real strengths. At a time when global institutions are under strain, this network of nations is a powerful example of multilateral cooperation that delivers. And that is the approach that will be reflected in the Global Partnerships Conference in London in May. We look forward to co-hosting that conference with South Africa, bringing together governments, civil society and the private sector to help shape the international development system for a new era. There is much more I could say, Madam Deputy Speaker, about the work we are doing through the Commonwealth on economic growth, on democracy and good governance, and indeed on the vital climate challenges that we face. But I want to, in summary, turn once again to the importance demonstrated this evening, again, to why the Commonwealth remains so vital in today's world. It is a combination of its shared values, its global reach, and its relevance at a time of growing instability. This is a significant year for the Commonwealth, with ministerial meetings, major events and leaders coming together.
Will the Minister give way?
I will.
I'm joking.
I know it's naughty to intervene on the Minister in my own adjournment debate, but since we have 5 minutes, I wonder if you could touch on a couple of those economic benefits to which he's just referred. 4 minutes, excuse me.
Delighted. Growth is clearly one of the growth is clearly a central mission for this government, and the Commonwealth truly can play a really valuable role in delivering it. The Commonwealth has a significant share of the world's markets, critical mineral reserves and trading potential. The combined GDP is projected to reach $20 trillion by 2027. Shared language, legal systems and institutions makes it easier to trade and invest with one another. But as we know, many members face real constraints, from debt pressures and volatile trade to limited access to affordable finance, all against a backdrop of global uncertainty. That is why the UK will work with Commonwealth partners to put economic growth at the very top of the agenda at the Heads of Government meeting later this year. The focus will be on reducing barriers to trade, making it easier to do business across borders, deepening digital trade, improving alignment of standards, strengthening supply chains, and expanding the Commonwealth Investment Network, which I know my honourable friend is familiar with. We believe that work is already making a difference, supporting small businesses, from agritourism projects in the Caribbean to recycling and land restoration initiatives in the Pacific, helping them attract investment and build resilience. And as a group of countries committed to free trade and the rule of law, we'll also work together to support the World Trade Organization reform and a more stable and predictable global trading environment, including the small states. These are some of the steps that we will be taking on economic growth. It is also right to say that some of the climate pressures that face the Commonwealth also impact very heavily on the growth prospects of some of the members of the Commonwealth. We have been very glad to support some financial measures in that regard as well, including the Climate Finance Access Hub and the Disaster Risk Finance Portal. This helps states build resilience and respond more effectively to climate risk. We're taking action in order to try and ensure that Commonwealth countries, particularly exposed to the vicissitudes of climate change, do not face financing burdens in their ability to respond. I want, before turning to concluding remarks, to also just agree very sincerely with the points made by a number of honourable members and friends about the Commonwealth war graves. I remember myself visiting the pristinely maintained Commonwealth war graves in South Sudan. So much else had changed in South Sudan since those graveyards were put in place, and they had been maintained pristinely, and it is one of the functions that falls to British diplomats often is to inspect those graves, which are the most moving and visible demonstration of the deep commitments that the Commonwealth feels to each other. So, as I said earlier, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's a significant year for the Commonwealth. Together we will work to support growth, strengthen democracy and the rule of law, back vulnerable states as they respond to climate change, and we are determined to enhance cooperation in the months and years to come to ensure the Commonwealth continues to deliver for all of its citizens.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Order, order.